Hey Esper, I saw your little the video you made on the review of fourth edition, and I've been looking at a bunch of these videos on YouTube. I've played D&D for a long time, and I never really thought to look on YouTube for D&D stuff. I don't know why, but I've been kind of cracking out on it for about a couple days now. But anyways, I saw your review of fourth edition, and I think you have some good points, and just watching some of your other stuff, I think you're probably a pretty good DM and got a good grasp on gaming in general. But I wanted to address some of your points and make my own fucking dorky D&D video because I've been playing D&D for a long time. I mean, and I started on first edition, Dungeons and Dragons. This shit, and this is the whole book. This is the whole player's manual. It's like 60 pages, and in some ways, I think this was the best version of D&D. But I'll get into that later. Just starting with the first point you make about the older stuff being dated. That's not an argument I can really agree with you on. I really don't understand how a game becomes. I mean, Monopoly's been out for 80 years. If it's a good game, it's a good game. It doesn't become dated, right? Things aren't automatically better because they're new. Miley Cyrus is not better than the Beatles. Britney Spears is not better than Soundgarden or Nirvana. I mean, it's not a solid argument. I don't see how you can justify that in any way whatsoever. But on to the next point. Now, to be honest, when you look at these older books, like so, the rule systems for these were pretty terrible, really. And we talk about, making house rules, for example, in like first and second edition. I mean, house rules are a given, right? Everybody has house rules because the rule systems are so very vague, right? And that's sort of part of how we old school players kind of got into D&D. Like, we always had house rules, and everything was pretty much up to the DM. And you approach the game as a consequence in a different way, right? So you're not looking up the rule, the DM's like, well, alright, I'll give you like a 50-50 chance to do that. So you can, like, I want to leap off the roof of a building to land on a guy and put an elbow into the top of his head. The DM's like, that's awesome, alright, I'll give you roll a d8, whatever. And you just sort of made it up as you went along. And consequently, the game flows a lot faster that way. When the DM is just making it up as he goes along as necessary, instead of having to stop the game and being like, well, let's make a fucking grapple check and what's your jump skill, and what the fuck. So I never liked a lot of rules in general because I've played D&D for a long time, and I don't need a damn book to tell me how to play D&D. I know D&D. I'll play it. I don't need your bean-shit rules. Just how we played. I mean, and that sort of tendency carried into, I wasn't sold on 3. Forget about 3.5. I thought 3.5 was definitely better than 3. But it took me a while to get into 3 because there was so many damn rules and everything was set out, and I was like, well, I don't want to learn all this crap. And as a consequence, I still, to this day, when I DM a game, I did it like one time in the 3.5 rules of how to like progress a monster, for example. And you get an R, you calculate strength. You know what? Fuck this. The adventurers are level 8. This monster has 80 hit points, has an AC of 21, and a base attack bonus of 10, something like that. And that takes all of like 30 seconds to design. And you just scrap the rules. And you made, I think, a good point when you said that the monsters shouldn't use the same rules as the PCs, right? They shouldn't be restricted to the same design because they serve different purposes, and you're absolutely right in that. But I figured that out like 10 years ago and just sort of cast that part out. Because again, I come from an old school D&D thing where you're constantly making house rules and homebrew content. What else? And that carries through a lot of facets. Like I remember you said that the devils get greater teleport at will, which is completely retarded. You're right. That's like the most retarded thing. You just throw that out. That's what the fuck is that? So you just throw that out, and you're like, no. And you boost their hit points because outsider hit points are like D8s. So like a pit fiend had like 150 hit points or something in the original 3.0 Monster Manual. You're like, what the hell is that? So you tack on another 100 hit points or whatever. And there's a lot of things that, besides the actual mechanics and design of it, that just break down because of the rules, right? So like if you're fighting a red dragon on a cliff, right? You're at its cave on a mountaintop. There's a cliff there. Now the red dragon, if you use the rules and you really want to break this game, because you can always break the game. The red dragon will just grapple fucking everybody and drop them off a mile, like a mile-high cliff, right? So if there's 8 of them and they're all level 20, the red dragon has like a plus 50 to its grapple, and it can grapple everybody. Grab, grapple, drop, and the encounter is over. And that's with the rules, mind you. So you just kind of scrap the rules. If the rules don't help you, you scrap the rules and you play the game. It's a role-playing game. So fourth edition, let me say some good things. When I got into fourth edition, I didn't want to play it. First off, I had to have a friend convince me, like, no, man, look, they've cleaned up the skills, and they did. And it's more streamlined, and it is. And, you got to check it out. Let's just give it a couple runs. And I was like, all right, fine. And we had all these debates because he was like, dude, it's new, it's better. Whatever. We played for a while. Played I think 2 campaigns worth. And I actually ended up saying, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And my friend coincidentally said, this sucks. So, irony, right? But one of the things that I didn't like and why I don't have any real desire to play it is, again, because I play from a style where we kind of make up a lot of the content as you go. And it's a very rigid system. Everything is sort of compartmentalized, which kind of comes to like the skills and the abilities, right? They kind of are strikingly similar, and I think you mentioned that. I'm not sure, but at level 5, you're going to get a power that does double weapon damage plus your relevant ability modifier, and that power will, if you're a fighter, it's called Tide of Iron, or if you're a wizard, it's called this. If you're a rage, but it's all the same power. It does the same, effectively, functionally, the same or almost the same thing at comparable levels. And that really just sort of takes the flavor out of it, man. Like, at that point, I was like, I'm not even going to use... I don't want to use the abilities that are in there. Because what's the even point of it? They should have just had attack 2. Just why? I mean, it's got a name now, Righteous Blast or something, but it's the same thing as something else. It just has a different name. And you look at the player, and I should have grabbed it. You look at the player's handbook, and you look at each class, and there's this litany of abilities that you got to pick from, and that's tedious as hell. Again, man, I don't like having to look it up every time to know. I mean, you mentioned that like some levels when you go up in 3rd edition are boring. So what? I mean, you go up in level, you up your base attack bonus, maybe get a little better save. Takes you like all of 2 minutes to see what you got. You don't have 5 pages worth of abilities to look through and see, well, what am I going to take this time? And is it an encounter ability or is it